Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Singh. Topping on Newscast, the sprawling HOVENSA facility on St. Croix is getting closer and closer to getting sold. Another stage in the sales process took place Tuesday in New York. The bidding done by what are currently only two companies interested in taking over the company's storage terminal. News2's April Knight has that story.
Two companies vying for the ownership of HOVENSA bid on the St. Croix facility today at a New York auction. In September, HOVENSA filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings that allows it to sell its assets under court supervision. Limetree Bay Holdings is the stalking horse, the company that made the initial bid. It's offering $184 million for just the storage terminal portion of the St. Croix facility. It's also not closing its doors to the possibility of buying the refinery portion. Limetree is a subsidiary of Boston-based company ArcLight. And then another company joined the fray. Buckeye Partners had to make a better offer than Limetree Holdings to even gain entry into the auction. That means a minimum bid of $198.6 million. Buckeye Partners has a long history dating back to 1886, when it was incorporated as a subsidiary of Standard Oil. It's a primary distributor of petroleum in the East Coast and Midwest of the United States. The company manages more than 6,200 miles of petroleum pipelines, as well as over 100 truck loading terminals. At the moment, it seems as if it's between Limetree and Buckeye Partners. Other bidders could also have popped up during the auction, but it was not open to the public. The auction should produce a winning bid and a backup bid. The sale hearing is scheduled for November 17th, next week Tuesday, in a Delaware bankruptcy court. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Again, the next step occurs November 17th. News 2 will keep you updated on any development in the HOVENSA sales process. Well, this morning at roughly 10:33 a.m., the 911 emergency call center received a call of a body found by a concerned citizen in estate Enfield Green. Responding officers reported to the Rocky Beach area of Enfield Green, where the decomposed body was discovered. The corpse could not be readily identified, and detectives assigned to the case are awaiting the results of an autopsy to determine the identity of the deceased. Anyone with information concerning this matter, you're asked to phone the Criminal Investigation Bureau at 712-6024. Chief of Police of St. Croix, Arthur Hector Sr. at 340-712-6005, or Crime Stoppers, the anonymous tip service, 1-800-222-8477. Police have shared some updated photos of a missing person. Nina Gondalo, as we reported, has been missing since Monday, November 2nd, when she was last seen at 1 a.m. in the area of Estate Mountain. Nina Gondalo stands at 5'8", weighs approximately 125 pounds, light complexion with blonde hair and blue eyes. Gondalo, police say, may seem confused and may be in need of medical attention. Gondalo is known to frequent the Canagata Ballpark and the towns of Christiansted and Frederiksted. Anyone sees Nina Gondalo, you're urged to immediately contact 911 or Crime Stoppers. District Court Chief Judge Wilma Lewis on November 5th sentenced Jacine Simmons, 23, to 21 months in prison for possession of prison contraband and possession of a firearm while under indictment. He will also serve 3 years of supervised release. Records indicate on January 2nd, Simmons was the subject of a contraband search by police officers who ended up chasing Simmons and eventually capturing him. The officers found a loaded .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun, a loaded magazine, and a switchblade knife. This in addition to other confiscations while Simmons was in Bureau of Corrections custody. Senator Marvin Blyden is rallying the community to come up with solutions to the recent rise in gun violence in our territory. Blyden has met with individuals in the community, to include nonprofit organizations, business owners, and Commissioner Randolph Bennett of the Department of Property and Procurement. He also requested a listing of all government-owned properties so he could determine where a trade school could be housed. A trade school, he says, where young adults can get skillfully trained in utilizing their hands for something more productive than pulling a trigger is needed. He said there is clearly a void in our community when it comes to programs for our young adults, in particular our young black men. On Monday, November 9th, a search warrant was executed for 925 Estate Williams Delight in a joint effort by the Criminal Investigation Bureau, Forensic Bureau, and the Special Response Team. Now, the SRT entered the dwelling. A man behind the door pointed a gun at them, and after seeing several officers, he retreated into the dwelling, and the search and arrest continued without any further incidents. 2 men were found in the home, later identified as 23-year-old Stedroy Francis Jr. and 44-year-old Pedro Harris. Officers found a .40 caliber handgun and rounds of ammunition, in addition to a bedroom being used to grow, dry, and prepare marijuana for distribution. About 110 marijuana plants, 6,080 grams of dried marijuana buds, and drug paraphernalia used for packaging marijuana were also seized. Harris and Stedroy Francis Jr. were both arrested and charged with cultivation and manufacture of a controlled substance and possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. Well, due to heavy rains experienced last Saturday, the peace rally and concert was postponed. Senator Terrence Nelson has rescheduled the peace rally and concert event to Sunday, November 15th at the Agriculture Grounds. The peace rally march will begin at the Castleburg Light Trailer Park at 1 p.m. Lineup is at 12:30. They will then march to the Agriculture Grounds for a 2 p.m. start time of the activities on the grounds. The event will start at 2 and end at 10. Many local artists are involved as well as speakers. The territory is gearing up for the big midweek holiday, honoring veterans in the territory, and no one is more excited to invite residents to come out to celebrate than Veterans Affairs Director Patrick Faro. Faro, who himself is a veteran, says these events are important reminders to veterans of our appreciation for their sacrifices.
We're having our Veterans Day Parade on Wednesday, 11 November, which we'll have one on St. Croix at 9 a.m. on the 11th, and then the other one on St. Thomas at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Both will be attended by the governor, the delegate to Congress, Stacey Plaskett, and myself, along with our keynote speaker on St. Croix will be Brigadier General Deborah Howell, the Adjutant General of the Virgin Islands National Guard, and the keynote speaker on St. Thomas will be Mr. David Celestine, who is a disabled veteran from the Virgin Islands.
And here is a quick recap there. The St. John's Veterans Parade was held over the weekend. Meanwhile, here are the dates and time for Wednesday's parades. From 9 a.m., St. Croix's Veterans Parade will take place, and of course the governor will be there. Then at 3 p.m., the St. Thomas Veterans Day Parade will be held. Governor Mapp and Lieutenant Governor will attend. Then at 6 p.m., there will be a veterans reception held at Catherineburg. The governor and Lieutenant Governor will be in attendance. And the Virgin Islands Police Department advises the general public of parking restrictions in place for the Veterans Day Parade scheduled for Wednesday in Frederiksted. These restrictions are in effect, they say, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Parking is prohibited along the entire parade route, including the staging area at the post office located on Fisher Street, also on Fisher Street to King Street, and from King Street to Butto Park. Vehicles parked along the parade route will be cited and towed at the owner's expense. Motorists are urged to use alternate routes and as much as possible as directed by VIPD officers during the events. Now be sure to go out and support the veterans. Lots of activities planned. And as you know, the day is a federal holiday. Public schools are closed, local and federal government, banks and post office, all closed. VI Superior Court, UVI, and Innovative's business offices. Now be sure to tune in to NEWS2 as we share the significance as well of the holiday and recognize veterans on Wednesday at 7 p.m. and the replay. We will have highlights of the parade, but on Thursday we will share more of the parade with you. Turn our attention overseas. Only 8 Republican candidates will be on the main stage tonight as Fox Business tries to differentiate itself in the latest debate. Andrew Spencer has a preview.
This is a strange election, isn't it? Man!
Donald Trump campaigning before tonight's debate got a few chuckles by bringing up the controversy surrounding his biggest rival.
You stab somebody, and the newspapers say you didn't do it. And you said, yes, I did it. And they said you didn't do it. If they said I didn't do it, I'd be so happy.
The questions about Ben Carson's past come as the media scrutiny around him intensifies, and he's bashing the media in return.
Talking to the wrong people, not going to like Wilson Junior High School where the lock incident occurred, but talking to other people and saying, see, we can't. I mean, this is just stupid.
After the bashing the CNBC moderators took after the last debate, a lot of eyes will be on its competition as Fox Business hosts tonight's debate.
What we have to do as moderators is make sure we're asking the adult kind of questions without any agenda, but without doing so snidely.
For the first time, only 8 candidates will be on the main stage as Mike Huckabee and Governor Chris Christie are relegated to the undercard debate with Rick Santorum and Governor Bobby Jindal. Senator Lindsey Graham and George Pataki, due to their low poll numbers, have been dropped from the debates entirely. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Also, the U.S. Navy has identified the cargo ship El Faro. The National Transportation Safety Board confirmed the identification. Search crews using sonar over the weekend found wreckage that appeared to resemble a 790-foot cargo ship in an upright position. Now families have the answer they've been seeking for more than a month. As they search for the ship's data, the mission is expected to last 15 days. The 40-year-old U.S.-flagged El Faro was headed to Puerto Rico from Jacksonville, Florida, and went missing near the Bahamas on October 1st with 33 people on board. The ship's main propulsion failed, stranding the crew in the path of Category 4 storm Joaquin. Keeping our eye on the economy, here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. Taking a look at the numbers there, the Dow up 22, NASDAQ down 11, S&P 500 also up. Coming up on News 2, we have much more straight ahead. We hear from Senator Ford after the Senate session. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter held a press conference today to announce International Capital and Management Company's adoption of the Lionel Roberts Stadium through the SPRAT program. The Sports, Parks and Recreation Adoption Team SPRAT program is a public-private partnership designed to foster serious and long-term relationships where public, sports, parks and recreation facilities will be adopted and as such be cared for by private entities. Here's more.
I want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Lionel, and thank everyone from International Capital and Management Company. And I look forward to working with you through every step of the way.
That press conference was held on the grounds of the Lionel Roberts Stadium. Count on 2. We will have more on that conference on Wednesday's newscast. In other news, the Senate Committee on Education and Workforce Development met Monday on St. Thomas to hear testimony on a bill evaluating education standards in the territory. Committee members also received an update on the conditions of schools across the territory, and according to the committee chair, the deteriorating school infrastructures trace themselves back largely to one problem. News 2's April Knight has that story.
Bill number 31-0154, which would have established a review committee to evaluate VI education and Common Core standards, was held in committee on Monday. Senator Jean Ford presided over the Education Committee hearing, where testifiers said the bill might not be necessary as they're already doing what the bill would legally mandate.
The unions, both the supervisory union as well as the teachers union, they all testified, and all testified basically saying that they don't think that it was absolutely necessary. The Department of Education said that they were doing things or this already. They were actually making the review already.
The committee also heard updates on the conditions of the infrastructure of the territory's schools. There's no update on St. Thomas schools, however, because of the absence of education officials who could speak to their condition. The committee did get to see these photos of school structures badly needing repairs. Ford declined to identify the specific schools in the photos, but stated that it all goes back to the lack of maintenance.
I have visited just about all of them, and all of them, the problems are consistent. You know, a rotten piece of plywood that can easily be replaced, you know, and replaced before this issue becomes a capital improvement project.
Ford is advocating for a $750,000 line item in the 2016 budget that would be dedicated solely to school maintenance. He intends to hold another meeting soon on the condition of schools. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
And we will keep you updated on when that next meeting on school conditions of the school buildings will take place. Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Economic Development, Agriculture and Planning met Tuesday on St. Thomas at the Earl B. Otley Legislative Hall. The committee, chaired by Senate Vice President Jeanette Millen-Young, bill approved number 31-0227, which will allow for the non-probate transfer of specially registered investment securities from an account holder to a beneficiary upon the owner's death.
Are held in probate, and that means that no matter how much any family member wants to repair it or refurbish these properties, they cannot because the matter of ownership is before the courts. But this bill does not just deal with properties, it also deals with registered securities. And very important, the transfer does not take place until the death of the owner.
The Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority has scheduled a road closure of the northern half of King Street in Cruise Bay, St. John on Thursday, November 12th and Friday, November 13th. The roadway from the old Chase Bank location to the corner of the post office will be closed to allow water crews to replace a damaged fire hydrant. Repair of that hydrant, they say, is necessary to improve fire protection in Cruise Bay and the surrounding areas. While crews are making repairs, traffic, of course, will be rerouted around this portion of King Street in Cruise Bay. The authority apologizes for the inconvenience caused by this road closure. If the succulent smell of authentic Caribbean cooking from over 60 food and beverage vendors is enough to lure you to a place, then you don't want to miss the taste of two islands at Yacht Haven Gran. Thursday, November 12th, you will be supporting WTJX Channel 12's most prominent annual fundraiser if you donate your appetite and money. Guests who purchase tickets to the public television station's 11th annual event will have a chance to sink their teeth into an exciting collage of the best cuisine on St. Thomas and St. John. Over 500 people went out to support marine education at Reef Fest that was held on Saturday at Coral World Ocean Park. Reef Fest is aimed at promoting reef conservation and environmental awareness in the VI community. With over 30 great raffle prizes, including overnight stays at Marriott Frenchman's Reef, Crest Hill Guest House, Wyndham Vacation Ownership, exhibitors also included fish and wildlife, CZM, core, lionfish cooking demonstrations, and sampling by Taj at Buddha Sushi. Presentations were held throughout the day by various professors and UVI students. The Reef Wrap winners were Sheldon Wally High School. Congrats. The event was free and sponsored by the Virgin Islands